Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Adam Ellis.
Is the Switch actually outselling the Wii? I mean, early days, but don't laugh, it actually seems to be happening so far.
Yes, if the first few days of launch are any indicator, the Switch could be an all-time hot seller for Nintendo. In many countries, it's either close to outselling the Wii, or in some cases actually beating the motion control console that sold like hotcakes.
Now, it is important to note that obviously we're still really early in the Switch's life cycle, considering it's been out for less than a week and it's not in the clear yet given some of the launch hardware issues like those we reported on yesterday, but some new sales figures indicate that the Switch has generated what every console maker wants the most for their system: hype. And pretty safe to say that the Switch has got some.
A lot. Like, all of my friends have a Switch, which is saying something.
All the hypes.
It's like just came out. Here's what we learned from a recent tweet stream from New York Times reporter Nick Wingfield, who interviewed Nintendo of America's president Reggie Fils-Aimé.
As we know, the Switch launched on Friday, and the sales numbers for March 3rd and 4th were the best for any system in Nintendo history, Wingfield tweeted. Yeah, bigger than the Wii.
Well, there's not really much else out there right now for the Switch, unless you're really into snipper clips.
And you probably should be. Like, if you want a second game, Snipper Clips is awesome.
I'm diving into Shovel Knight for the first time. Breath of the Wild has been a critical darling, holding a 98 score on Metacritic that makes it the best reviewed game since Grand Theft Auto 4, which came out almost 9 years ago. Which isn't a criticism of other games, because there are a lot of amazing games that have come out in that time period. It's just an illustration of how good it is for the Switch to have a game like that at launch.
Speaking of Breath of the Wild, Wingfield tweeted that it is now the best-selling standalone launch title in Nintendo's history, not including bundled games like Wii Sports, obviously.
So
apparently.
It means not everyone bought Breath of the Wild with their Switch?
Well,
if this is outselling the Wii.
You weren't forced to. Like, it didn't come packed in.
Right.
But if you bought a Switch, there's a 90% chance you also bought Breath of the Wild.
Fair enough.
Apparently, Breath of the Wild has outperformed even the legendary Super Mario 64, Wingfield tweeted from his interview with Fils-Aimé.
Goddamn. Finally, Wingfield tweeted, long-term comparisons to Wii, which sold more than 100 million, are tough, but good start for the Switch with big games coming.
Nintendo didn't exactly release how many Switches have been sold in the Americas region, which includes North, South, and Central America. But for comparison, Polygon reminds us that the Wii sold 600,000 units in 6 days in the same region. So the Switch moved a lot of hardware.
And while we don't have sales number for the Americas yet, we're getting more figures from other parts of the world.
Bloomberg reporter Yuji Nakamura tweeted that the Switch sold 313,700 units during its opening weekend in Japan. By comparison, the Wii U sold 308,600 units and the Wii sold 371,900. And just for another comparison, PlayStation 4 sold 322,100 units.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, they get really granular. They're down to like the 100 units.
Meanwhile, in France, the Switch saw its best launch for a Nintendo console since the 1980s, according to a French publication that was translated from NeoGAF. Nintendo has sold 105,000 Switches in France, compared to 95,000 Wiis during its first weekend in November 2007.
And then, of course, as we noted yesterday, the Switch sold 80,000 units in the UK during its first weekend on sale, which is twice the amount of Wii U's that were sold during its launch window.
Without that Wii U comparison, I thought that number seemed low, but now it kind of puts it into perspective a little better.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that the Switch has gotten off to a really good start. Maybe it won't reach the heights that the Wii did. After all, the Wii went on to sell more than 100 million units.
It was, yeah, which was a shocker for everyone, including Nintendo, I'm sure. They'd love to repeat that trick, but at this point, that's a lot. That's probably down to luck.
But it's safe to assume that Nintendo has to be pretty happy so far with the Switch's performance.
Now, it's also worth noting this is typically a slower time for the games industry. The Wii and the Wii U both launched around the holiday season, which is the busiest time for the games industry. Many analysts have said that the true test of the Switch will come this holiday season when consoles are typically a popular gift.
But some industry watchers say this could be a tactic by Nintendo to work the kinks out of the Switch before gearing up for the holiday season. Like the kinked dock.
It's not a bad tactic. There are some things to work out for sure. Last week, Rob Fahey of GamesIndustry.biz said that Nintendo's decision to launch in traditionally a quiet quarter for the industry will give it time to get its bearings and sell to its loyal base before the company makes a more concerted effort to go after casual consumers at the end of the year, hopefully without issues like docks that can scratch screens. I mean, they removed the dock from their own from sale from their own website, probably to fix it. I don't know, add felt.
Hopefully, right. Meanwhile, for the people that got their hands on a Switch, including 100% of us here at the Know, probably more like 200% since we all own like multiples at home, there's a lot of Breath of the Wild being played.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots.
But gamers are also reporting some hardware issues as we see with a lot of launch consoles. We've already seen reports of Switch's left Joy-Con desyncing, but other gamers are reporting problems with their Wi-Fi connections.
A bummer.
As in their Switches are getting really, really weak signals.
As Polygon reported, Switch owners on NeoGAF and Reddit, among other places, are complaining about slow internet speeds, which is causing long buffering times in the eShop.
Nintendo's advice? Turn the Switch on and turn it off. More accurately, switch it on and switch it off.
Have you tried turning it off and back on
It's
again?
my favorite line.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Restart your home network or create a new internet connection are the other two options they list. And then there's always moving the Switch closer to your router. Nintendo's, which is like the opposite thing they say to do to avoid Joy-Con sync problems.
Right. Just set the entire thing, including your TV, up within 3 feet of your router.
Right.
No
we need
big deal,
exactly
right?
3.2 feet between them. No inches can be spared. Nintendo's support site said, if possible, place a Nintendo Switch within 10 to 15 feet of the router to improve the signal strength during troubleshooting.
Still, some users report that even with the device sitting relatively close to their wireless router, the signal strength never goes above 2 bars out of a possible 3. Polygon's reached out to Nintendo for comment on the Wi-Fi issue. So far, no response.
What do you guys think of the Switch's performance so far? Could we have another Wii on our hands? Have you played one yet? What are your impressions? Let us know in the comments below.
God, you're so needy. Just want all these things. You just want and you want and you want. Oh, give him what he wants. For all your gaming news, especially when it comes to the Switch, because we'll be honest, we're a little obsessed at this point. Make sure you like this video, and if you're new around here, you want to get all of your video game and news every day, make sure you subscribe to the Now.
In many countries, it's either close to or outselling the Wii in some cases. I'm reading that weird. Who interviewed Nintendo of America's president Reggie Fils-Aimé?
Just president.
Oh, sorry, I read
Sorry.
it.
How many Switches have been sold in North America? Yeah.